hypnotized. She's pretty, look into her eyes. They tell 1,000 stories of the past. Some of the memories you wish you didn't have. She's brave like her mind. She's a woman, feminine.
Hi everybody. I hope everybody is doing well, and I hope everybody is having a blessed day. What if one decision could lower your stress, improve your sleep, strengthen your immune system, and even change the chemistry inside your brain? That decision is forgiveness. Now, forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting what happened. It doesn't mean saying that abuse, betrayal, or injustice was acceptable. It doesn't mean reconciling with someone who continues to harm you. Forgiveness is about releasing the emotional burden that keeps your body trapped in a state of chronic stress. Today we are exploring the fascinating biochemistry of forgiveness and what modern neuroscience, psychology, and physiology tells us about how forgiveness can influence hormones, stress response, and overall health. Let's dive in. What happens when we hold into resentment? Imagine replaying a painful memory over and over again. Your brain doesn't simply remember the event, it reacts as thought. The threat of the brain, particularly the amygdala, become activated. This sends signals to the hypothalamus. The hypothalamus activates the sympathalamic pituitary adrenal axis, often called the HPA axis. This triggers the release of stress hormones. One of the primary hormones is cortisol. Another is adrenaline. These hormones are incredibly useful during genuine emergencies. They increase heart rate, raise blood pressure, release glucose into the bloodstream, sharpen attention, prepare your muscles for action. But here is the problem. The body was designed for short bursts of stress, not months or years of emotional tension. When resentment becomes chronic, stress chemistry can remain elevated more often than it should. The truth about cortisol: there is a common claim online that trauma or resentment creates stored cortisol inside the body. That's not actually how human biology works. Cortisol not stored in muscles or tissue waiting to be released later. Instead, cortisol is continuously produced by the adrenal glands, used by the body, and then broken down and cleared. However, chronic emotional stress can repeatedly stimulate cortisol production. So rather than releasing stored cortisol, forgiveness may help reduce repeated activation of the body's stress response system over time. That's an important distinction. The body isn't emptying the reservoir of cortisol. It's calming the alarm system that keeps producing it. What happens during forgiveness? When someone genuinely begins the process of forgiveness, researchers have observed changes in both psychological and physiological responses. Forgiveness can reduce heart rate, blood pressure, muscle tension, anxiety, emotional stress. Brain imaging studies suggested reduced activation of the amygdala during forgiving. Thoughts compared with thoughts of revenge or resentment. Meanwhile, areas involved in emotional regulation and empathy become more engaged. Is as thoughts, the brain shift from survival mode toward recovery mode. Hormones, they may change. Although everyone's experience is different, forgiveness practices have been associated with healthier regulation of several biological systems. Cortisol. Reduced chronic stress may contribute to healthier cortisol rhythm throughout the day. Instead of remaining elevated, cortisol is more likely to follow its natural daily cycle. Adrenaline. As the nervous system settles, adrenaline production becomes less frequent. The body no longer behaves as thought danger is consistently present. Oxytocin. Positive social connection, compassion, and trust are associated with oxytocin release, while forgiveness itself doesn't guarantee increased oxytocin. Compassion interactions and restored relationships may support it. Oxytocin has been linked with bonding, reduced fear response, and greater feelings of safety. Dopamine. Many people describe forgiveness as emotionally freeing. Positive emotional experiences and a sense of resolution may activate the brain's reward pathways, which involve dopamine, serotonin, improved mood, healthier relationships, and reduced stress may indirectly support serotonin function. Although serotonin regulation is influenced by many factors, the immune system connection, chronic stress doesn't only affect your mind, it affects your immune system. Long-term elevation of stress hormones can influence inflammation and immune function. Research suggested that individuals that practice forgiveness often report better sleep, lower stress, improved emotional well-being, better cardiovascular health. While forgiveness is not a cure for disease, reducing chronic stress may contribute to better overall health. Neuroplasticity and forgiveness. One of the most exciting discoveries in neuroscience is neuroplasticity. The brain consistently changes based on repeated experiences. If you repeatedly practice compassion, emotional regulation, and forgiveness, different neural pathways becomes reinforced. In other words, forgiveness is not only an emotional act, it can become a biological habit that shapes how your brain responds to future stress. What forgiveness is not. Forgiveness is often misunderstood. Let's clear up a few myths. Forgiveness is not saying what happened was okay. Forgetting the past, excusing harmful behavior, removing healthy boundaries, trusting someone who remains unsafe. Forgiveness is choosing not to let another person's action continue controlling your internal state. You can forgive and still maintain firm boundaries. How to begin the process. Forgiveness is rarely a single moment. It's often a gradual journey. Here are few evidence-informed practices that may help. Take slow, controlled breath to calm your nervous system. Write about your emotions in a journal instead of suppressing them. Practice mindfulness to observe painful thoughts without becoming overwhelmed by them. Consider speaking with trusted friend or therapist if the hurt is significant. Remember that forgiveness is primarily for your own healing, not because someone else deserves it. Your body is consistently listening to your emotional world. Every thought influences neural activity. Every emotional communicate with hormones. Forgiveness doesn't magically erase painful memories, but it can help reduce the repeated biological stress response those memories may trigger. Over time, your nervous system can become calmer, your mind become clear, your body spends less time preparing for battles that have already ended. Forgiveness is one of the most powerful forms of emotional self-care. Science increasingly suggests that when we release chronic resentment, we may reduce stress, support healthier hormones regulation, improve emotional well-being, and create conditions that allow the brain and body to recover. Healing doesn't happen overnight, but every small step toward forgiveness may also be a step toward better health. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who could benefit from understanding the science behind forgiveness. Thank you for watching, and I hope this helps you. I love you all. Goodbye.